In the last section, we put together our image card component. We're going to use this component to render an image and then somehow dynamically give it just enough space to show up nicely inside of our grid layout. Let me show you a diagram that's going to explain exactly how we're going to accomplish that. All right, so quick flow diagram right here. Here's the general idea. We're going to let each image card component render itself and its image inside of it. After that image is rendered, we're then going to somehow reach into the DOM and figure out exactly how tall that image ended up being when it appeared on the screen. Once we figure out that height, we're going to take that height and we're going to set it on state on each individual image card component. That's going to cause each image card to re-render itself. When it is re-rendering, we're going to use that image height that we figured out during that previous step right there to generate the appropriate grid row end property to make sure that the image takes up just enough space to show itself and not accidentally overlap anything underneath it. So that's the general idea. Now, if this sounds complicated right here, trust me, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's just a series of steps that you might have not gone through before if you've been working in front-end development, or maybe you have, I don't know. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do here is somehow figure out how we're going to reach into the DOM and figure out the height of an individual image. Now, you might know how to do that with traditional JavaScript. If we were going to do this with traditional JavaScript, we might write out something like document.querySelector image. That would give me a reference to that first image right there. And then to get the actual rendered height of it, I would chain on a client height property call like so. So I get back the number 321, which tells me that this first image right here needs 321 pixels of space to render itself correctly without getting overlap from the next image down. Now here's the thing. This is how we do it with vanilla JavaScript. But when we want to access DOM elements directly using React, we do not make use of the document.querySelector property or function. Instead, we make use of a React system called the ref system. Ref, REF, like so, is short for reference. Let me tell you a little bit more about that system and how it works. All right, here we go. So React refs. React refs are a system to give you direct access to a single DOM element that is rendered by a component. We do this in place of using code like document.querySelector like so. In order to create a ref, we're going to define our constructor function. We're going to call a function inside the constructor to create a reference and assign it as an instance variable on our class. We can, in theory, assign references to the state of our component, but it's really not required to do so because these refs are not going to change over time and we're never going to call setState with the ref. So no need to link it up to state. In general, we only put data in state if we expect it to change over time. Once we assign that ref as an instance variable on our class, we're then going to go down to our render method and pass that ref into some particular JSX element as a prop. Okay, so let's take a quick pause right here and we'll start going through this process in the next section.